Gracie Torres.
How are you?
I am blessed. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm doing really well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How was your day today? What was your Friday
My
like?
Friday like? So my son took his DMV test today, the written exam, and he passed. So
Congratulations.
It started off
your
as
insurance bill is going to go up.
Everyone should up their insurance right now. You're going to have a new driver on those streets. But he was really happy. You know, my son is exactly like me. He's just like me, and so he was so shy. I walked in. I was waiting for him. I walked in, and he nodded his head that he passed, and
Okay.
I screamed in the middle of the
awesome.
DMV, and I couldn't get an emotion out of him. But I know he's got to be proud of himself. He worked really hard, and so that's how my day started, which was really nice.
Here in Riverside?
Here in Riverside, in Sycamore County, in Ward 2, we have a DMV.
Okay.
And so he's happy. I'm happy. We called everybody on the way. He was like, I should have failed. I was like, I would have called everybody anyways.
I would have told them.
I would have told them too. And so, but no, we called everyone. And then took him to school. I had a dentist appointment today, some dental work. And then after that, I did a little bit of work with one of the grocery store unions. Did a little bit of work with them. And now I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, good fighting.
It's funny how you say that, because sometimes we look at certain people that are in office, or they might be doing something different than what we do, and we forget that they're just regular people.
Right.
And they go to the DMV, they go to the dentist, they do all these regular things as well. You're young. Is that your youngest son, or do you have another one who's been driving already beforehand?
Yeah, I have my oldest is 18 now, and so she's been driving for 2 years. Okay. But she goes to RCC, and so when she was in high school, she could help me with drop off and pick up, and she still does enough. She's very helpful. But now her classes are, like early in the morning or in the afternoons and the evenings, and so it's been a little bit of a juggle to try to figure out, okay, what day do I go pick them up? What day does my dad help? What time? Yeah, and so it's become him getting his license is necessary, and that's the case for most working families. Like, we get another kid driving, that's less burden on everybody, right?
I'm not there yet. My daughters, one of them is 8 and the other one is 4. So I still got a while to go until I get to that point.
Oh, don't miss it. It goes so fast. my baby is 10. She'll be 10 in August. Okay. And so we're still, all of us live vicariously through her. And her innocence and everything, because she still sees the world all happy. The rest of us are busy with life, and she still, plays with her dolls. And
that's cool. You still get to remember a little bit of what it is to have a kid, to have somebody who depends on you 100%.
Yes.
Because it's like you're saying, eventually they're going to grow up and they're going to do what they want to do.
Yep.
And then you give them a car, and then all of a sudden, Mama, I guess
my friend needs this, and
Oh, man.
Yeah, they escape. My mom told me, she warned me when my daughter got her license. She's like, "Se te va a escapar?" And she never ran away or anything crazy, but it's every day it's something. This person wants to go get boba. And I'm like, my mom was right. She should find her.
But you know what? That's gotta be cool, because at least she has her own social life. She has her own friends, just the way we did it when we were growing up. Right. To me, it would be sad to see that my daughters wouldn't have anywhere to go with, nobody to go hang out with. So, at the end of the day, that's part of life.
Yeah, that's true. That's a beautiful way to see it.
Yeah.
She's got this independence about her that it makes constantly as a parent, right? We're questioning everything we do. Am I doing this right? Am I home enough? All those things. And so to see that, she's independent, she has friends, she's living this very full life. It takes you back, and you're like, okay, I did at least one thing right.
Was it hard for you to accept it at some point? And
that she was growing up?
She was growing up. She was going out with her friends.
Yeah. I worry more about her than I do about the others.
Really?
Because she's gone.
Is this your first? Oh, okay. She still lives with you, or
she still lives with me? Okay. But the others I can keep home. Like, they're home. I know exactly where they are, when they are, what they're doing.
She's out doing her thing.
And she's doing her thing. Again, this really cool independence, but I'm constantly like, where are you? What are you doing there? And it's funny because my dad was the same way, and I hated it, but I'm just like him.
Just like him. Well, obviously, Riverside community, you guys know her. I'm pretty sure a lot of you, Gracie Torres, you've seen her in a lot of social media posts. She's doing amazing things. But let me introduce you, in case if you don't know her, which I highly doubt it. But let me introduce you to our guest today here at the Legacy Podcast. Gracie Torres, I'm really grateful that you are here today, and I really mean it. I know a lot of things happen to make this happen, but God knows what He's doing. So, Gracie is a proud Riverside native.
Yes.
I'm going to say it. A first-generation immigrant, a mother, a public servant, and a leader who has dedicated much of her professional life to serving our community, which is pretty cool. Not everybody wants to dedicate the time. And another guy that does a lot of these things is Osh.
Yeah, Osh.
Osh Puerta, which we know why we're here because of him. She earned her college degrees in chemistry and environmental science, giving her a strong technical background in water quality, infrastructure, and environmental responsibility. Professionally, Gracie has built an impressive career around protecting one of our most important resources, water. And she currently serves as an elected board member with Western Municipal Water District, where she has been part of important conversations around water, affordability, infrastructure, and the future growth of our region. Now, Gracie is taking the next steps in her public service journey as she runs for Riverside City Council. Obviously, we're going to talk about that. But honestly, not just that. I want to make sure that this conversation is not just about your titles, about your degrees. I want to make sure that this is not just a campaign platform. Those accomplishments, they do matter a lot. But what really matters the most is that this right here is an exciting opportunity for people to get to know you. Yeah. The Gracie that not a lot of people get to know. Yeah. And this is what this platform exists, is to record our testimony. Yeah. This is called the Legacy Podcast. And the reason why the name of Legacy Podcast came up to be, I don't know if you knew this or not, but when my dad passed away 5 years ago now, I was trying to see videos of my dad, and I couldn't see any of them, yet alone going back in the past to see who was my dad when he was my age right now, 38, or who was my dad when he was 25. There's none of those videos. Right. But then if we go on YouTube, then we start to see videos from musicians. We start to see videos from actors, from actresses that had left us already a long time ago. And we can see a lot of their life because that's been recorded. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that's how this podcast came up to be. And my love to creating content is to record my story. So I realized if I don't have these things from my dad, then I want to do this for my daughters. Yeah. So God willing, from a long time from now, when the Lord calls me, then there's a library of videos that my daughters are going to be able to go and see through my journey, because I've been doing content, I would say, probably continuously about 5 years now. Yeah. So it's not to create content for me to become viral, but it's most important to have that video library for my daughters.
That's interesting. When Instagram, 2010, Instagram started, everybody was really skeptical. And I remember the first thing thinking was, I want a way to keep a track of how my kids have grown. Oh. And most of the time, because we have photo albums and we have the picture albums and are in your phone, all these things. But when I need to look for something, I go to Instagram and I scroll all the way to the bottom.
And you see.
Because that's a timeline of things, right? And recently, not recently, like 6-7 years ago, I had a terabyte. It was like, it went during Black Friday and bought, it was like $200. And it was so back then they were so expensive. And so I had bought this terabyte of storage and I put all my photos in there, everything. Well, it died.
How?
Everything, wedding photos. I don't know.
¿Se perdió todo?
Todo. I spent probably like $10,000 trying to get it fixed. Different, and IT companies. I was going and I get basically, it's just like a CD. The inside the inside had a little just scratch, right? They don't even know how it happened because it was closed, right?
Way.
Everything. So I don't have videos. So it's beautiful so I feel it because everything I get, I have to find, like just the other day, my friend was, he's creating some content for a campaign and he's like, I need pictures of you when you were a kid. I had to ask my friends.
To send you pictures.
I was like, hey, do you have a picture when we were at Gage? Do you have a picture? Because I lost everything.
Oh, man,
aside from printed photos, everything. I know. So,
that sucks.
So yeah, I record everything all the time,
Honestly.
everything. Porque, like I said, everything I have, either it's Instagram now or my friends have it or somehow I'm finding it.
To me, that became YouTube. That's my library. Yeah. Because honestly, anything that you upload into YouTube,
it's there forever.
It's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
So that's the way that I look at social media and creating content is there's my library. There's videos that are private, videos that I don't have to post.
Right.
But imagine how cool would it be.
Someone just pulls it up.
Exactly.
And it's on a cloud. That's
And whenever we're 70, 80 years old and we have our great grandkids, I'm like, hey, look, this is me when you win the election. Like, this is me, all the process that I went through just to win to this point. Because you are recording it. I see your videos when you're going out there and you're door knocking, you're doing all these things. So, yeah, it's great campaign publicity, but it's also going to be an amazing library for your kids to see.
Right, who their mom was. And I do the same thing with my parents, you know, like I save my mom's voicemails now. And they're almost the exact same every time. Hola, mija, ¿cómo está? Every day it's exactly the same voicemail, but now I'm like, one day that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I've just been saving those voicemails. So, you know, when
that's the one thing I wish I would have from my dad.
Yeah.
Because I never saved any of them.
Right, I used to just delete them. Because it was the same voicemail. Ya sabía, I already knew what she was gonna say, but now I save all of them.
And unfortunately, it does get to that point.
Yeah.
You just want to listen to the voice, and you see. I mean, you just hear it. There's some videos that every once in a while they come up. It's my dad, and you can hear his voice. It's like, oh, okay, that's who my dad was.
Right.
You know, at that point. But anyways, that was my reminiscence, but most importantly, why this podcast exists.
That's really beautiful.
So that's what I want to make sure we tap into.
Yeah.
You know, and you said something earlier. You were born in Durango.
Born in Durango.
Okay. And how old were you when they brought you were brought to the States?
So my parents, it's 5 of us. I have 4 siblings. And the 5 of us and my parents moved here in 1990. I was 3 years old.
Okay.
I was 3 years old. We moved here, landed in Casablanca.
Okay.
And that I've been here ever since. Haven't left.
I just moved to Riverside. It's our 3rd or 4th year.
Okay.
And I fought it. I fought to move to Riverside. It wasn't really like the place that I wanted to be because I didn't understand the city.
Yeah.
And even, I would say, 2-3 weeks ago, we were debating to move to Merida with my family because, you know, it's with our business, with Leto, we can go and we can run it from anywhere.
Sure.
So we were actually, with my wife and I, we got to the point that we said, okay, let's do it. Let's move to Merida. So my cousin calls me. This is last year when my wife and I said, let's do it. He calls me about 2-3 weeks later and he tells me, hey guys, I'm going to get married and I'm going to get married in Playa del Carmen.
Oh.
So Playa del Carmen is about 3.5 hours from Merida.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, God's working his way because after we said we want to move, then we started to think, okay, when are we going to go? We got to go check it out, what we would do. I have a few friends that moved over there. So now we have the excuse and the reason to go. So we go there recently. We got there on the 17th of April. We were there until the 21st. So when we go there from the 17th to the 21st is the fun part of the resort when he got married. But then we went to Merida from the 21st to from the 21st to the 24th or the 25th. So we get to experience the life, what it's like to live in Merida. And when we're there, I still love it. It's an amazing place. We were walking in downtown with my daughters, 8 and 4 years old. Not once that I felt unsafe. Right. You know, would I do that here in downtown Riverside? Unfortunately, probably I wouldn't do that walking at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock with my daughters, just my wife and I. But that sense of security of being in the city, because Merida is one of the safest cities in Mexico. Right. But the one thing that I realized as I'm there, God answered my prayer. And I realized that Merida is not my place for me to live in. Because after being in Riverside for 3 years, now 3.5 years, God's opened up so many opportunities, so many friendships, relationships. We have our circle of friends at church. We have our circle of friends here at the office, at work, with everybody that we're getting to meet. We have our softball community friends because my daughters play softball at Orange Crest. And that's when I really realized that he answered my prayer that I had asked him about 3-4 years ago to put me in a city where I could plant my roots. Right. And I can just grow with the people, grow with the community, and grow with the business. And that's when I realized I don't want to leave Riverside. I'm so excited to be in Riverside, and you've been here since you were 3 years old. I've been here 3-4 years back, but I can see why people love Riverside. Yeah. And my brother has been here for the past 15 years or so. Yeah. And he's always been telling me, dude, come check it out, come to Riverside. I'm like, I'm okay.
One of the cool things about this city is a big city. It's a really big city.
The small town.
But it has the small town feel, right?
100%.
And like my kids played at Orange Crest too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they played at Orange Crest baseball. And there's a beautiful community, a neighborhood or neighborness that we have in the city of Riverside. And that's what I want to bring back. You know, right now there's so much division. There's a ton of division. And I'm very territorial about my city. And so I kind of have this feeling like not here. Here we need to be the neighbors that I grew up with, that where when someone comes 3 years ago, they should instantly feel that this is the community that's going to take care of them. It's going to take care of their business. It's going to take care of their children. They're going to have fun here. That's what I want to see in Riverside. Exactly the reasons you decided to stay is what I want the Riverside to be. I want us to be, I want us to kind of be shielded from the ugliness that we're seeing around the world.
And that happened to me, obviously, as I got closer to God. The first step for me is I started to look for a church community. Because if I would tell you my whole testimony, how I went from not knowing God, from starting to have a curiosity to build a relationship with Him, to the point that I hear Him loud and clear telling me, you want to get to know me without having to go to a priest or a pastor, then buy a Bible and get to know me and build a true relationship. This is when we were still living in Chino Hills. And then to the point that we finally moved to Riverside, I start to say, okay, my relationship with God was already starting to grow. And then I asked him, well, put me in a community that I can actually be a part of. And then that's when church came into me. So first we went to the Grove.
Church?
We went to the Grove first. Beautiful church. It just felt big. And then we found Sandals. A good friend of mine, Mark, he tells me, well, I go to Sandals. They have 14 campuses, but then the one down the street right here on Palm Avenue, it's a smaller campus. So my family and I, we went to check it out. And it just felt how God was kind of telling me, you're asking the right questions, I'm going to give you the right answers, and I'm going to put you in the right place. But to me, the way that I don't get hung up in all the division and all the things that you just described. Yes, you are so right. We're living them in a day by day. But we have the choice whether we get stuck in that division or we get stuck into bringing everybody else together. But how do we do that? To me, it was until I started to give myself to truly get to know God, then it allowed me to put my walls down and start to reaching out to somebody else. Instead of trying to find blame on somebody, then I trying to find the reasons why God brought me here to understand, now I can do these things for the city instead of the division. But I think that division, yes, it's there, but I think there's a lot more people that want to be united. There's a lot more people that could be united and that are united. But I think it's the dogma of, okay, this is what society is doing and I'm going to be stuck with it. So I think a lot has to do with the message that we're spreading. Instead of, with all due respect, instead of spreading the message of like, there's a lot of division, like, well, there's a lot of people that are united. There's a lot of people that want to be united. Why don't we focus on that? Because at the end of the day, it is us, the one that with our words, at the beginning there was the Word. And He created us with the Word. But if we keep on spreading these words, there's a lot of division, then we are creating and we are magnifying that division. So that will be something that I will invite you to approach a little bit differently. Instead of focusing on the division that we're living, is focus on the people that are united.
The things that we have in common, And that's one thing that I say all the time. When I see it, when I see, oh man, people are divided, but we all want the same things. As I'm knocking on doors, as I talk to folks, as I'm serving my community, everyone wants the same thing. You would never guess it if you don't have those conversations. We all want Arlington not to have so much heavy traffic, and the only way that's going to happen is for all of us to collaborate and work together, So these quality of life things, everybody wants the same thing. And those are the things that should be unifying us, and that's what I want Riverside to be, this insulated city that is working to make it better every time, than focusing on the things that are different.
Well, obviously, you have an amazing background. What are your degrees exactly?
I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry and biochemistry, and then a master's degree in environmental science, earth and environmental science, and then I'm working on a doctorate in public administration.
Which is awesome as an immigrant. You moved from Durango when you're 3 years old. And what they teach us is, well, education is going to set you and put you in a different place. Obviously, that's been the case for you. For me, it was not the case. Education was not my forte. To me, I always clashed when I started to go to school for business. And I would ask my professors, okay, well, what kind of businesses do you own? What is it that you've done? It's like, well, I never owned a business. Well, but you're going to teach. It's different. To me, it's like if you're going to go to college or university and you're going to go in debt, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, it's got to be for something like what you're doing to become a science.
It's funny because when people think of education, they think of a degree. Einstein said you can graduate from college and so school stops, but education never stops. And whether your education is in business and without having an actual degree, or your education is in trades, right, where you're doing construction, that never changes, right? And that's why these narratives that when we were kids, right, the narrative was like, you have to go to college to be successful. That was more harmful than anything, because you come at it with all this debt and no jobs. Yeah. And so education doesn't end. We'll always find a way to learn more, right? Whether it's through podcasts or meeting new people and getting, right? We're going to continue educating ourselves. But school doesn't necessarily mean that. And in the times that we're living in, it doesn't necessarily mean success either. Yeah. You know, I'm very proud of the work that I've done. I work very, very hard. I learned that from my parents. And but now I know that I could have gone a different path and been in the same place without the debt, right? and it's not for everyone. And I see that all the time in high school. These kids that want to be, they want to have a construction company, or they want to be entrepreneurs, and they're being pushed into school and they don't need it. Yeah. But what they need are the options. They need jobs to land in, and that's the city. The city will benefit from creating opportunities outside of just college education opportunities. I agree.
So with your background, I mean, you can probably have job offers handed left and right for over $250,000, 300,000. You have the education and you have the experience, but you're going this direction of public service. and you're going for city council, which I know is not a lot of money when you guys are getting paid. Right. Why? I'm like, why, girl? Why you do? It's like, why would you open up a business? You want to open up a business because you want your time? Don't open up a business, because that's not going to be the case. Yeah. So it's like, okay.
That's such a good question. The way you framed it was funny. My dad was a pastor for while I was a teenager.
For what church?
They're LDS. They're LDS, and so he was, I think it was like 4 or 5 years that he was dedicated as a dedicated pastor. And I would watch that man literally give people the shirt off his back. Okay. And there was a family, he went to high school with them actually, and they moved to the United States. They had gotten their visas, came to the United States. They were working on getting some type of residency, but they didn't have anywhere to go. So they lived with us. It was a father and 2 kids, and they lived with us. And we're a family of 7, so it was crowded. Oh God! And I remember being so selfish, and I don't want them to live here anymore, because it was crowded. But I remember just being so I was a little kid. I was a little selfish, and but I remember the day I think they got the residency or got jobs. There was something that got them to the next step. Okay. That family, my dad, we all walked out to say goodbye, and my dad handed him the keys to our van. We only had 1 car. My dad handed him the keys to our van and said, para que empiecen de nuevo. And bro drove off with our only option. And sorry, it makes me emotional to think about. That's what I was raised by. I was raised by the type of person that would do that. And my dad, the way he saw it, he's like, we can always get more things. They're starting over. So I resented him a lot for being that type of a person. I remember we need your time. We need you. And then sure enough, now I'm, it luckily was actually ingrained in me. I love community service. We did whatever we could as kids. We went and cleaned parks, and we went and read and sang to seniors, different things like that. And so when I got the opportunity to serve on this water board, I knew I wanted to be a different type of public servant. I wanted to be the type that if I'm going to be away from my kids and I'm going to dedicate so much to it, I want to see results. I want my community to know me. Okay. Because you can be a leader and not lead. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so I don't know. My dad taught me to serve. I'm choosing to serve in a different capacity, but one thing I tell people all the time is politics is hard.
Okay.
Politics is hard. People are, really, they're very passionate about one way of doing things or a different way of doing things, but community service is beautiful, and it is what drives me every day. We in Casablanca, we built a playground. We painted we built a basketball court, painted a mural on it. I do Christmas events. I have a scholarship. I do these different things, and it honestly grounds me. It is the thing that when people are like, why are you going to do that? The pay is bad. The people are mean, whatever, right? And it's like, because when I get those moments of actual service, I don't know, it makes me feel like I have that connection to what my dad was looking for in service.
When you're saying your dad was a pastor for LDS,
yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what that means.
They're Latter-day Saints, Mormons.
Okay.
Mormons.
So how was growing up for you in the religion?
Yeah. Growing up Mormon, it was fine. It was my whole life, it was my whole life. I was basically born into it. So for me, it was my life. My parents are very, very dedicated. My siblings are dedicated Mormons. It wasn't the way I chose to worship after becoming an adult. I was really lucky. I had good parents. I had good parents that taught us to be good to people.
How's your relationship with God?
It's great. It's great. It's personal. It's a personal relationship. I have always been of the idea that there is somebody taking care of me, and I like to believe that they're taking care of my kids. But I have a responsibility to pass that forward, or pay that forward, right? So whatever I can do to take care of other people or take care of my children, that's a responsibility that comes from God, and because He's taking care of me. But yeah, it's good. I always want to, how do I say this? I want to live the type of life that when I look back, or when I'm being judged, or whatever that looks like in the next life, for that I'm not going to cover my face and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that."
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because that, to me, it was my life before Christ. It was a completely different lifestyle.
Yeah.
It was alcohol, drugs. I used to play music, so playing at the House of Blues, the B.B. King. So I always use these analogies. I was with the devil at that time, and I was doing all the things that the world offered. But then at some point, I did started to hear His voice. He started to call me to change my lifestyle. And now I am so glad I did that, and I listened. Because a lot of the times unfortunately, we let religion get in the way of building a true relationship with God. And
the box, right? You have to stay in this box.
Yeah. And that's what, unfortunately, religion does, those things. But that's why I like to ask this question is, how's your relationship with God? Because a lot of the time we don't have a personal relationship with them. And the most important part of it is, once you do have a good relationship with them, to me, in my Christian faith, is I know when people ask, well, why are we in this life for? What's the whole point of living? It's definitely not about the business. It's definitely not about running for a city position and having it, and then what are you going to do with it? Because to me, at the end of the day, I like to compare my life to how the apostles, they came and they walked with Jesus, and they left everything they had, and they gave His life to Jesus to go out and continue to spread the gospel after Jesus came. So to me, it's like, how do I do my part as if I'm an apostle, and how do I try to spread my relationship with somebody else? Because at the end of the day, yes, all of the things that we're doing here are amazing. Just like all the things that you've done, they're amazing, the basketball course. But I think the most important thing that we need to remember with the platform that God is giving us, if you have a relationship with them, you need to use that to make sure that people know how amazing He is. But if we are afraid to share His message and the testimony that He built through us because we're afraid what people are going to say, then we're forgetting what the reason of life is, which is to become an apostle, to become a disciple, and to share the message that He's build through our life. That to me is how I find meaning in life now, because before the business was my idol.
Yeah.
All of my personal achievements were my idols, and I was looking after that, and nothing wrong with that. But the problem becomes when we let that achievement become our God. And we forget that those achievements that we got is because God put us in that position so that we can give him the glory. And I think that's one of the areas that I'm curious to see how some of your colleagues and your constituents will respond to, and being in a position that, can you make a difference to remember people how amazing God is in politics? Because that's definitely an area that I don't think is welcome. And I mean, obviously I'm seeing how I see it from the outside looking in. Would that be an area that some of you guys will be willing to share your testimony in office and let your testimony spread out to the people using that platform of...
One of the things that I learned, has always held to me, right, is in the Bible it says there's 2 commandments, right? You love God over everything, and you love your neighbor, right? And so I think a lot of way to spread a testimony without necessarily having to say it, right, is through your actions. You love God, right? And that, in my opinion, can be personal, can be outward, whatever it is, but then you love your neighbor. And so serving them, taking care of them, treating them right, those are the 2 things that God asked us to do, right? And so, and sometimes those are neighbors that might not see religion the same, or might see faith the same, that serve a different God than what yours looks like, or mine looks like, or my neighbor's God looks like. But what I do know is that in order for me to be, like I said, for me to be okay with my relationship with God, I want to make sure I'm following those 2 commandments, right? And that's how I see it.
Right.
You're right. In politics, it's usually unwelcomed, and that's mostly because you don't want to feel you don't want anyone to feel isolated. You don't want someone to say, "Oh, I don't agree with them. I serve a different God or no God." And so I think there's that level of inclusivity that you see in politics. That isn't necessarily a bad thing for people to feel like they can be heard regardless of who they've chosen to serve.
Well, you said something earlier that you have a scholarship, and I was reading about it. You name it after your abuelita, right?
Yes.
What's the name of the scholarship?
Anhelita. Beca Anhelita.
How did that opportunity came to put that together, and how do you distribute that, Beca?
I like that question. My abuelita was adopted. She was adopted, and when her adoptive parents passed, when her biological parents passed, they left her a plot of land. But she didn't know them. She didn't know these people. She wasn't raised by them.
In Durango?
In Durango. In La Purísima.
Okay.
Or Tepehuanes, which they're 2 towns right next to each other.
Okay. That's where the piece of land was.
Yes, it was
Mexico.
A piece of land in Mexico. But she didn't know these people. So she donated it to the city or town and to build a school. And it was the very first school in that little pueblito. And so education has been a big part of our family. My parents really ingrained in us that you can't stop learning.
Right.
You always have to keep learning. My dad has, just decided to take online courses. He wants to get a degree in psychology.
That's so cool.
He's 75 years old.
That is awesome.
Online,
that is really cool.
calling me, mija, ¿cómo prendo el Zoom? And I love it. I love it to death. But so education was very important to us. So then when I became elected, I already have a career. People say the words like career politician. I already have a career. Politics or community service is what I do because I love it.
Right.
So we get a small stipend at the water district, and I just started setting it aside. Like I said, I had a career. I was able to pay my bills, so I just started setting this aside, and didn't know how that service was going to look. So I decided I'm going to use it for 3 things. I want to see more women in STEM. I wanted to do a turkey drive. Okay, this is going to be weird. I'm going to say it in the video, but hopefully, let's see. Have you ever seen that scene in American Gangster Have you seen the movie American Gangster?
I've seen it, but it's been a while.
A long time. Well, with Denzel Washington,
Okay.
he opens this or rents this big truck and puts a bunch of turkeys in the back, and he's just like handing them out to the community.
Yes.
I've always wanted to do it. Haven't done that exact thing yet, but I knew I wanted to like turkey drive or some type of turkey event. And so I partner with Casablanca Home and Neighborly Services to do, and the settlement, the Community Settlement Association every year in the East Side to do some type of turkey drive, and then a toy drive. We partner with the Hoop Bus.
Okay.
And we tour the entire Inland Empire. We're in a bus that has 2 hoops on the side. We bring basketball influencers to play with the kids while they wait in line,
awesome.
and then we just give them toys. But the beca, like I said, I was saving money, and I was like, well, I would like it to be kids or more girls that want to be in STEM, but I give it to anybody that wants to be in STEM. And I kept it to my division at the water district because it's not that much of a stipend I'm saving. So I give $500 to a kid that wants to go to school. I basically partner with the school district, say, hey, send me a kid that wants to be in STEM that could use this money. One of the things that's different from my scholarship than, well, not a lot of people do this, but than others is I give a scholarship to Lincoln High School, which up until, I think that's going to change soon, but it's a continuation school. It's only for kids that are failing or have some type of issues. And the Education Opportunity Center, which is a school for kids with disabilities. Not a lot of people find the reason to invest in those types of schools, but I think I got a $1,000 scholarship from Western Municipal Water District when I was in college, and that fed my kids for a month. So it can change. My scholarship's little, it's $500, but it can really make a difference in people's lives. And so
these schools, sorry to interrupt you, they don't have the same type of funding. Do they still get funding from the government, or they don't get the same type of funding from the government?
They get. I'm sure they're funded fine. Just people who give scholarships or programs that give scholarships don't tend to focus. Yeah, they don't tend to focus on those types of schools, and so. And
sometimes those are the ones that need it the most.
Yeah.
Most of the time, those are the ones that need it the most, because all the other ones, they have so many opportunities, and I understand now what you're doing. Yeah. And how long you been doing that for?
I started the first one was in 2020. It was during COVID.
Okay.
So I want to say 2020 or 2021 or 2019. It was during COVID because Primera Verica came and interviewed me at my house.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure it was during COVID. Now I have to go look back because it's been a while. It's got to be 2020, I think. And so I've been doing it since. It's funny because my dad was like so over the moon. There's a scholarship named after his mom for such beautiful reasons, and so he'll call his brothers or his nephews, my cousins, and he'll be like, "Ay, si quieren donar." It hasn't really happened yet, but he's like trying to crowdsource for the scholarship to make it bigger. The funny thing is and you laugh because you're in finances. First year, I just gave them a check, my own personal check, as a scholarship. Okay. I don't know. And then at the end of, or the next year when I was doing my taxes, I'm like, hey, I gave scholarships. And they're like, yes, you have to do it through a nonprofit.
So that was my next question. What was the actual process to set up the scholarship? So you have to set up a 501c3?
So I just partner with the nonprofit. And I do that with the turkeys and a 501c3 requires somebody that gives them a lot of time. And so I don't have the time to run a nonprofit like that. And so I'll find a nonprofit that's community-based, that understands, and I'm like, hey, it's time to give out scholarships. We'll partner. They end up on the press release too. Okay. Whatever the case is. So I partner with a nonprofit, gave them the money, and then they distribute it. Same with the turkey drives. I'll buy all the turkeys, give them to the nonprofit, and then we have like an event or something. It makes it just a lot easier, and it's tax deductible.
So that's something that you and us have a lot in common, is the way you guys are out there really helping out the community. Because when I was talking to Ash, that's when I realized, this guy's been doing this forever though.
Yeah.
Like he's been in the community helping out for a long time, and he really has been making a difference.
Yeah.
And that I can see how his relationship with God has definitely helping as well to guide him into the right directions.
Right.
So that's awesome how you and us have. I just kind of.
I remember when I met Oz. He's running for this race, and I met Oz, and he was really the way he was talking about Ward 6 and the things he wants to do there. That's not what is it? That's not manufactured. That's real. That guy is so dedicated. He's really passionate. And that's what we need in public service. We need some. I'm very proud to work with Oz. I cannot wait to serve alongside him. Hopefully this summer we can start getting some cool things done.
One of the things with him, we had the toy drive this December, and he showed up. He brought a couple of toys, and there was one of the teachers for one of the elementaries that is not in his ward. But when we were having a conversation, I forgot her name. But she starts to tell us how her school is one of the oldest schools in the district, and they're so very forgotten. A lot of the kids are using very old desks, and they don't have anything really to show for to give that pride of it. And then us hears the conversation, and I introduce them to one another. They start to go over back and forth. Us all of a sudden, about a month and a half later, boom, everybody has new equipment at that office. And that's something that really shows how he really cares, even though it's not in his word, he's not trying to run for that, but somebody who has the ability to connect the right people and is willing to stick up his neck for somebody else, and he make the difference. Actually, I got to give him a shout out for that.
That's so cool.
Because that's something that he made it happen.
Yeah, he get like a lot of us. One of the things that I think sets someone like Oz aside is that he'll do it and no one will find out that he's done that. And I think that's more beautiful. One of the hardest things about becoming a public servant, especially in politics, is the people around you are like, put out a press release, let everybody know you did this. And I was like, I grew up with the dad that nobody knew he gave a van away, right? Nobody knew that he was picking people up at 3 a.m. who needed help. Like nobody knew those things. So it was very difficult for me to become this public person. Even, be like, hey, I'd love to be on your podcast. Like that to me it's still very foreign to come and talk about yourself. And so, Oz deserves us because I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of the type of work that he does in the community.
And the ward that he's working on.
Still, and the ward.
And the ward that he's working on, because it's day and night, Ward 2, right?
Yes.
And Ward 6 is day and night. So you're going for this position. What are some of the major things that you would say? Let's talk politics for a little bit.
Okay.
What are some of the things that you know your ward needs? Because it's well financed, I would say. You have so many different opportunities, different community. But what are some of the areas that the ward is missing? So
it is, yes. If you're looking at the two wards side to side, there is a significant difference. We have UCR, which means more investment, into that area. So it's been fortunate to have that. It is a newer side of the city, newer, relatively speaking. So it's newer. The homes are more beautiful, or they're beautiful in the Canyon Crest areas, right? Yeah. Ward 2 just picked up with redistricting, picked up the Hunter Hobby industrial area. So it has a few manufactured home areas. And it's unique, that type of dynamic is unique in a ward that, where you've seen a lot of investments in one area. Now you're seeing there's going to be this area that also needs investment, right? Especially when it comes to roads, tree trimming, solving the homeless crisis that we're seeing on the streets. There's this area that needs that love that hasn't seen it before. And I don't know necessarily the reasons, but so there's going to be this dynamic where us as leaders, or me as leader in Ward 2, is going to have to say, hey, we get this bucket of money. How do we disperse it so that everyone's taken care of, but we finally put that investment in this area that hasn't had it for such a long time. And it doesn't necessarily need to be city funds, right? That's where we invite new businesses or new industries to come in and say, hey, you want to be a part of Riverside? Help me take care of these roads. You want to be a part of Riverside? Let's give some incentives to our residents, or whatever the case is, to take care of our residents. But what the city needs, and in Ward 2 we need, because we have this university that is a lifeline to the city, we need jobs, right? The reality is, and hopefully you don't see this, Tony, when your kids are older, hopefully I've fixed it by then.
They
need jobs. And you said it, in order for my daughter to be successful, she might have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
She might need to go somewhere that's going to pay her better, or you know, and I don't want that. I want her to stay here. I want my grandbabies to be here, you know, when the time comes in the future. But we need jobs in the city of Riverside. We need a place for the students who decide they want to stay. Then they love this city.
Right.
We need somewhere for them to go. We need jobs so that the mother whose daughter or whose babies, the empty nester that says, okay, I don't have any kids at home now. I want to go back to the workforce. But we don't have those opportunities available. And that happens in a lot of different ways. I just recently did a video about small businesses. If we should reward small businesses that hire locally, right? Are your employees from LA or are your employees from Riverside? If they're from Riverside,
Aurora's from Riverside.
All right,
she's right down the street. She started working with us on Monday.
You should be rewarding businesses like that. We have to partner with different industries. You know, we're looking at a city council that's probably going to approve or looking to approve a soccer stadium and an entertainment center. Yeah. That's a job creator, not just.
Riverside is going through
a lot of change.
10 years from now, it's going to be day to night.
But if that's the case, you're not only creating jobs for the people that will work at those stadiums or entertainment centers, the construction jobs that are going to come from it. Historically, trades jobs, construction jobs build the middle class, right? I used to say, like, hey, the people that were, you know, that had quads and had boats and had the big RV, they were all in trades.
Yeah,
they were all blue collar workers. So we need more of those jobs here. There's going to be a hospital near Ward 2 in the March area. That's a job creator too, right? So as UCR is expanding their student base and creating more doctors, and RCC is creating more nurses, we need to get that built so that these nurses and doctors aren't going to Loma Linda and they're not going to USC. They're staying here and we're rebuilding a middle class. And I could talk about jobs forever because I want to be known as the jobs candidate. But infrastructure is important. We talk about roads and we talk about trees or things like that, but where we're standing right now, there are 1,000 pipes that are moving our water and our gas and our electricity. They're moving it, and it's aging. And we're really in a time that if we don't start paying attention to the assets that the city owns, which is those things too, not just the trees and the roads, we're gonna not leave in a city that our kids are gonna want to live in.
Yeah.
And then public safety, you mentioned it in your intro, right? Or in your intro.
My testimony.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe to go take my daughters to downtown Riverside.
Right.
At 8 or 9 o'clock compared to Merida.
Yeah.
We were just walking around like nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that needs to change. It's funny because I just did the same thing. I took my parents out to Palenque. That's one of my favorite restaurants. And I keep thinking this is my earrings because they're so big. So I'm like, why are my earrings? But I took my parents, and I didn't realize how much downtown had changed since the last time they'd been in downtown. My parents stay home; they don't go out very often, and so I had to grab both. I grabbed my mom, I grabbed my 9-year-old, and I'm like, this is not a way to live.
Yeah.
We need to solve the homeless crisis. There is a lot of investment in homelessness, right? They're dumping billions into this problem. I really believe that we need to take a pause and say, okay, the city of Riverside has spent XX million dollars.
Do you know the actual numbers? Sorry to interrupt again. Do you know the actual numbers of how much money has been awarded for homelessness and how much has been utilized and where has it been utilized? Do you?
No. And that's why I want to take a pause, because I don't know it. I don't think the city. I'm sure the city knows how much they've gotten, and I'm sure they know how much they've spent.
Right.
But what have been the results? Right. The best example I can give you is Mijo. Right. I spent $500 for him to do the driving school. Right. And he took the test the first time, didn't pass. The second time he studied a little bit harder. He missed it by one question, but then that second time he took it and passed it, right? Just today. If he had taken it 8 times, then that's where I'm like, okay, why did I pay $500 for?
Yeah.
Like, what was the return of my investment? And I know that people want to make that a corporate answer, but that's the same thing here. If we are spending and the money is only going up, you cannot say that in homelessness we're spending less than we were in 2020 or in 2016. That money is going up. We need to take a pause and say, what have been the tangible results, right? If you go to downtown, is there more homelessness than in 2020 or 2016, or is it less? Those are tangible results. So we have to take a pause and really take a hard look where the pivot needs to be. And for all I know, the pivot just needs to be that, we have more counselors in the streets, or I don't know. And
that's a tough one, because a lot of the things that they may want to implement, they cannot implement a lot of the things.
Right.
A lot of the solutions. So there's a lot of red tape behind it. But definitely there's no red tape on how much money they're taking under the umbrella of
for homelessness.
Exactly.
And so that's what the first thing I want to do is like, let's take a breather, not stop working, but let's take a breather so we can understand where results have happened and where investments need to pivot, right? If that is housing, let's pivot there. If it's treatment, let's pivot there. But we cannot pretend that there's only one solution and that's throwing money at it. It's not working. The low desert, there's the Salton Sea, right? The Salton Sea is a huge environmental problem. It's a man-made lake, enormous. You can obviously see it when you're looking at a map of California, you see the Salton Sea. It's a man-made lake. It's an environmental disaster. The contaminants that are coming up in the air are really bad. The state of California, same thing. Billions have dumped billions into fixing the Salton Sea. But when you take a look at what they've done administratively, 90% of that money has gone to paying the CEO and paying the staff and paying for studies and paying to understand. Like, nothing has actually gone into the ground to fix it. And we cannot keep doing that. And in a crisis that involves human beings, we can't do that. We need to address it head on, and we need to understand where our money is going.
And is that something that you being in position, can you do something about that particular scenario?
I know for a fact that this is something that our current city council is focused on. That's what they want. I don't know if they want to take the same approach as me, but this is an issue they want to solve. And so I'm very fortunate to be supported by most of that city council and look forward to sitting down,
and
brown, black,
too.
Right, bag brown lunches and sit down with them and actually talk to them, actually start solving this issue, however that is. So
let's start right there. How can it be solved? First of all, the issue is producing chemicals. What is the problem that is how is that harming us? That we're
the
not
Salton Sea?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not going to solve that. No,
right? But,
that's something
but
that.
No, the question is like.
I was trying to give the example of how that's like homelessness.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now you have that example for the Salton Sea.
Yeah.
How is it harming people?
So the Salton Sea, it's starting to get dry.
Okay.
And it's a massive lake. It was this massive lake, and it's starting to get dry. So all the contaminants that were at the bottom of that sea are coming up into the air.
Okay.
It wasn't taken care of. It doesn't have a drainage system because it was so it's like a pool that no one is cleaning.
Everything is just sitting at the bottom.
Yes.
Okay.
One of the things that, as an environmental compliance person, one of the things I can tell you is we spend a lot of money on admin and less money on building and putting things in the ground. So they know that it doesn't have a drainage system, right? And mind you, I don't do this day to day, the science stuff, but they know there's no drainage system. Well, let's start building, stop studying, stop, all these other things.
But then where would the drainage go to? You have all these.
Right. But again, it's all just like, if we're studying, we're looking,
they're spending money, but they're not doing really nothing to test it, because at the end of the day, you're not going to know what the result's going to be unless you do it. Yeah. So now, bring it back down to homelessness. What is the problem that homelessness is causing? Well, you have the problem day to day. Okay, we get to see what's going on out there. I don't feel safe. The regular community feels unsafe being around them. But then what is the problem that these people are going through? Now, how do you solve a problem that is affecting people, multiple
Human
people in
beings.
different ways?
Right.
Because not everybody's being affected by the same way.
Right.
And it's a money-making problem because, unfortunately, cities are making money out of it. Money's being thrown at it. Do they really want to fix the problem? Right. Or do they just want to keep on using it? Homelessness is happening not just in Riverside, in the whole state of California. And then there's programs that incentivizing some way, somehow for them to stay homeless. You're providing the same, you're giving them a drug that probably put them there in the first place. How do you start to solve it?
So one of the things that, I think in general, a lot of these community organizations or groups, they want to treat people because they're people, or they're human beings that are suffering. And so the balance is, taking care of the residents that are seeing this every single day, that are like, I feel unsafe, while taking care of residents that are human beings and treating them compassionately, right? So you can't, I think people use you can't arrest your way out of this, but you also can't not do anything to get, so there has to be a balance between being compassionate and having common sense, right? So if you you give them housing, that's great. They're not on the street anymore, but how are you actually taking care of them, right? And so that's where the spending and accountability portion comes in. Is how much is actually going into creating jobs. There are studies that show that not all homeless people are mentally ill. They just don't have a job, or their job doesn't pay enough. So are you creating jobs? Are you getting them to a place where they can be self-sustaining? Are you giving them substance abuse or mental health treatment? But if you're just putting them in a house, then that's temporary, right? It's a step in the right direction, but it's not. And so again, because I don't know what the deliverables have been, right? I mean, I'm assuming you've in your business, right? You've gotten loans or grants or whatever, right? No one's giving you money without you proving that you've gotten results, right? And so that's the same thing here. We need to be like, hey, where have we spent the money? Has it only been spent in this thing? Okay, we know that it's not working, right? And this is not a 2-3 year issue. We have data. We have data and numbers that we can use to inform our decisions. So let's pivot and because like I said, I truly don't know. We need to really push back and be like, hold on, before we spend another dime, are we going to get a result from it? And I don't know if that's happened yet. And so that's one of the first things that we're going to look at. It's like, hey, wait, before we continue to, it's the definition of insanity, right? Just doing the same thing.
A different result.
And that's.
Do you think there could be transparency that they will make this data available to the public for us to see?
I hope so.
You think it could get to that point?
I hope so.
Obviously, they wouldn't want to.
I don't know that the city of Riverside has received any private dollars. It's all public money, and so therefore it should be public information. As far as I'm concerned, I believe in transparency. I remember when I ran for water board, I was a new, what's bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and people would get so mad. Like, I don't know anything that they're doing at the water district or how they're spending my money. And I thought that was just the weirdest thing to be so mad about. But they were upset. And so I got to the water district. I'm like, what are you guys hiding? What are you hiding? All these people are telling me you're hiding things. They weren't hiding anything. They were just not putting the information out as easily or readily available. And I've turned that 180. Western Municipal now has one of the best communications plans and implementations out of most government agencies in the Inland Empire. It wasn't because they were hiding anything. It was because they just weren't putting it out in an easy way to be digestible, whether that was social media or letters or whatever it was. We've switched that, and I'm very proud of that type of work. And I want to believe that the city of Riverside may or may not have the same problem where we feel they're being intransparent, but it really is just let the information out.
Okay.
And again, I at least, if nothing else, I have experience in that for sure. I'm like, hey, just talk to people. I just talk to people. My bosses, as an elected official, my bosses are not the city manager. My bosses are the residents. They put me in that seat and they can take me out, right? And so I have, in the way I see it, and I know Oz will see it this way because he's a servant leader, is I have 4 years to deliver. I'm not guaranteed a second term. And so I have 4 years to deliver. I'm not going to sit there and wait and, so that's why these things that are so important, I'm like, hey, we can't just keep repeating these mistakes because I only have 4 years to change something. So let's take a break and get these results out.
How's your family taking on this adventure?
They are funny. Running for water board was comparatively, now that I'm looking back, it was a lot of work, but it was easy. I was a water chemist. Okay. It was just me and my husband, my kids knocking on doors. And so, nobody bothered us. Like, we just ran our race and we won. We were successful, ran for re-election. People liked what we did and they elected us again. And then now we're running in this race that I've gotten so much support and so much love but a lot more scrutiny, which comes with the territory. I don't mind scrutiny. It comes with the territory, but we didn't realize how easy we had it. But even my kids, ellos viven su vida, and I love that about them. They're living their lives, but they're like, Mom, why are they saying these things on social media? Or why are they doing it? And I'm like, it comes with the territory, but I think that's been the biggest shift in running for office because they before they're like, oh, everyone loves my mom. She voted against rate increases. She brought jobs to the community. Right. She does this food or turkey drive, and everyone loves my mom. And now that there's more scrutiny and people are paying way more attention, which it's like I said, when it's public life, but it's warranted. These concerns are valid, the ones you brought up. They're valid, but they weren't used to it. So I think it's ignited them. They're like more ignited. They're canvassing with me. They're my daughter is making me breakfast on weekends because they're like. The other day, this is a personal, a little more vulnerable of me, but the other day, I don't know, the older two were fighting about something. And I'm tired. Yeah. So I'm tired. So I'm like, you guys, what's going on? It obviously wasn't even important in my mind. But anyways.
Wasn't this calm, your reaction?
Well, I just
was like,
the way you saw me, I'm tired. So I sit down and I'm like, what's going on? And then they're like, telling me. And I'm like, you guys, why are you doing this to me? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, and I told them, I was like, do I need to step back and hear more? Like, am I not hearing enough for you guys? Like, what's going on that, you don't realize that this little petty fight is impacting me, your dad, your sister? Like, what's going on? What do I need to change so that you guys don't keep doing this?
Right.
Although, to be honest, it's regular teenage behavior. So I'm proud, but they both stopped. And I think that's where they kind of got it. They're like, Mom, you're not out going clubbing. You're not out doing these, these, I guess, things. You're working hard. And so I felt a little bit of sense of pride in that they recognize that if I'm gone 12 hours, it's because I'm hustling. Yeah. And I loved that. So when they said that, I was like, all right, so if you know that that's the case, I just got home, it's 9 p.m. Do you think I want to deal with you guys fighting over who ate Oreos or I don't remember. And they're like, you're right. And they were doing regular kid things. I don't want to be like, they're so misbehaved or they shouldn't have done that. They were doing regular.
But the fact that they comprehend what was going on.
Yes. When they realized that, I said, you guys really do you think this is what I want to come home to? And I was like, do I need to pull back? Like, should I be home at 5 so that this doesn't happen? And I can be like, hey, you get 2 Oreos, you get 2 Oreos. Like,
it's like me with my 8 and my 4-year-old.
Yeah. And so she but they said, they were like, no, like they recognize like you're working very hard, but in that same breath, it's getting them to move, right? Like I said, they're like, what can we do to ease your burden?
That's cool.
But I keep reminding them, I'm like, hey, the harder I work right now, hopefully we win this in June, and you have me back June 3rd. June 3rd, I'm here. We're going to go to the movies. We're going to, whatever you need from me, I'm going to buy a freaking barrel of Oreos, whatever you need. But
do you think?
So they're motivated because that's in their head. June 3rd.
That's a deadline.
We get mommy back.
But do you think that's going to be the case? Kind of like I said at the beginning, you will want to open up a business thinking you can have your time back.
Right.
No. Do you really think it'll happen once June 3rd comes? You're starting to work, you win, you will win. You think you're going to have all that time back, besides the fact that you have your commitment with the water? Probably that's going to, I don't know if that's going to phase out or not, but then do you
I wouldn't run for re-election for water board. But my first term in office, I was like, I did everything. Okay. I did everything. I was here, I was there, I was in Sacramento, I was in DC, I was doing everything. And my second term, the shift was, what do I need to do to serve my community? Do I need to be in Sacramento celebrating this? No. Right? Do I need to be at a conference where I'm learning how to be a better elected official? Sure. Right? So I had that really big shift, and that's why experience matters, right? Experience matters because it took a second term for me to realize that, right? And so, no, I'm going to be busy still. I'm going to work really hard still, but now I know where I need to be versus where I want to be, or and so I need to be with my kids. Yeah. I need to be at city council meetings. I need to be in committee meetings. Do I need to be at every single event happening throughout the city? No. I'll be very lucky to have, I don't have staff at the water district. So that was one of the reasons why I was everywhere. And at the city, I will have staff, and I will make sure that we're always represented, that people know that we're listening. But I'm going to be where I need to be to serve adequately, not adequately, to serve well. But I won't necessarily be where all the places people want me to be. And so that, and I plan to stay there. I've had opportunities to run for other things, and I've taken them. And campaigning it takes a lot of time because it's a short amount of time. Serving for office, you have a little bit more. It's like an expanded time. But no, I plan to be at the city for a good few terms if the voters allow me to.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you look at the camera.
Yes.
And this is when you get to address the audience.
Okay.
What are your 3 values that you stand for?
The 3 values that I stand for is the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Hard work always pays off, and be an example as a leader. Lead by example. Yeah. Okay. Those are the 3 things that I learned from my mommy, and yeah.
Well, I want to say that congratulations for everything that you've done. It's amazing how you immigrated from Mexico. You made Riverside your home, and everything that you've done is amazing. And what you're going to do is even going to be better. But don't ever forget, just God always have to be in the front of everything.
Thank you.
And as long as you're making these decisions with Him in mind, and you're not trying to make it for a benefit of your own, He'll open up the doors. He'll continue to do it. Right. And I'm very grateful that you're here. Honestly,
me too.
We've never met. First time we met, we had this conversation. So I got to know a little bit more about you. I'm excited to continue to be involved in Riverside in any way, shape, or form that I can help out. I love to do so. I'm not going to say good luck, because it's not about luck. It's just praying that if this is for you, that God will give it to you, because that's what it comes down to at the end. But let's just say, if it doesn't give it to you right now, then there's got to be something else greater waiting for you.
Yes. And I really do believe that that things happen because there is a bigger plan. And so I'm working as hard as I can. I hope the bigger plan is that I can serve my community this capacity, but I'm not hanging my hat on it entirely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, elections are around the corner.
Yes.
Literally.
Make sure to vote by June 2nd. Your ballots are in your mailbox, or should have gotten this week. Yeah. Send them in I think before May 27th, excuse me, before May 27th in your mailbox, or you can drop it off by 8 p.m. June 2nd.
And today's May 18th,
Yes.
so we'll make sure to rush this
Yes.
to get it out there for you, for everybody to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation. It was fun for me to get to know you in this setting.
Too.
You know,
you're very what is it? You're very intentional, and I love that about people. You're very intentional, and I think that that's a great quality to have in somebody that's trying to make their community better.
Well, I appreciate, like I said, this platform is just recording a testimony. I'm 38. So by the time we're 48, we're 58, we're 60, I'm like, oh, let me look at that video. We got to do that.
I just turned 39. So
well,
almost
happy
the
birthday.
same
When's your birthday?
April 12th.
Oh, you just turned on February 21st. So,
oh, okay.
You know, it'll be awesome to at some point look back at this conversation and whatever we do in between from this point until we turn however old we get the chance. Right. Thank you for taking the time today, for reaching out. You got a friend in me.
Thank you.
It's not Toy Story. You literally got a friend in me. So anything that I can do to help out, please let me know.
Thank you.
And for all the community out here that you just got the chance to listen to this conversation and new testimony, Gracie Torres, make sure that you go out and you vote. Riverside is an amazing community, it's an amazing city, but it's up to us to make it this way. Because if we just leave it if we want to complain and we don't want to do anything about it, then we're on the wrong side. But if you want to make a difference and if you're willing to expose yourself the way you're doing it, you're exposing your family, you know, not everybody wants to do it, but everybody wants to talk ish. But not everybody wants to try to fix something. So congrats in everything that you do. Whatever comes out of this, congratulations, because you're still putting in the hustle and your kids are seeing it, so that's awesome.
Thank you. Very nice. Very nice to meet you.
Likewise,
Thank you
Gracie.
for the time.
Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day. Make sure you share, you like, subscribe, and you let us know if there's somebody that you want to have in the seat and they want to share their story. Just the way she's here today. I asked her to come and share their story. Now she's here. If you know anybody that should be here, please let us know. But remember, God comes first. Have a blessed day, everybody.